The most intelligent person in the room is usually the quietest one, and here's the psychology that proves it. Interrupt, everyone thinks they know what a high IQ looks like. Confident, loud, always with the answer, always making sure you know how smart they are. But psychology research says something completely opposite, the real signs of an extremely high IQ. They look like anxiety. They look like weakness. They look like someone who doesn't fit in. And most people, including the person carrying these traits, never realize what they're actually looking at. Here are 11 psychology-backed traits found in people with extremely high IQs. And by the end of this video, you'll never see intelligence the same way again. STEM trait 1. They prefer being alone. Solitude. This isn't antisocial. It's fuel. People assume the smartest person in the room wants to own the room. The reality? They'd rather leave it. Research from the London School of Economics found something shocking. Highly intelligent people reported lower life satisfaction from frequent socializing, not because they hate people, because their brains are always running at full depth. The prefrontal cortex, the region responsible for complex reasoning and deep thinking, works best in quiet environments. For a high IQ brain, silence isn't emptiness. It's where the real work happens. Trait 2. Their mind never shuts off. Heading. The brain that can't find its off switch. Most people switch off at the end of the day. High IQ people. They lie awake rebuilding conversations, solving problems that don't exist yet, running simulations for things that haven't happened. Psychologist Kazimierz Dabrowski called this psychomotor overexcitability, a relentless internal drive to think that has no natural stopping point. Neuroscientist Rex Young at the University of New Mexico found that higher intelligence means richer connectivity between distant brain regions. Not just faster thinking, but more simultaneous thinking. The brain isn't broken. It's doing exactly what it was built to do. It just never gets to rest. Trait 3. They feel everything deeply, but hide it. Heading. The most misunderstood trait of all. Everyone assumes high IQ means emotional detachment. The cold, logical thinker who runs purely on reason. Psychology says the exact opposite. Research published in the journal Intelligence found that higher IQ correlates with significantly greater emotional depth and reactivity, especially in response to music, art, injustice, and human suffering. Dabrowski called it emotional overexcitability. The reason nobody sees it? Because highly intelligent people are also extremely good at controlling what they show. They feel everything. They just learned early that showing it wasn't always safe. Unknown trait 4. They comfortably say, I don't know. Heading. Real confidence sounds like uncertainty. Here's a trait that shocks people every time. The smarter someone is, the more comfortable they are admitting they don't have the answer. This connects directly to the Dunning-Kruger effect. People who know very little feel very certain. People who know a lot can clearly see how much remains unknown. For a high IQ person, saying, I don't know isn't weakness, it's precision. The person in the room holding every opinion with absolute certainty, regardless of evidence, is almost never the smartest person there. ANF trait 5. They struggle to find their people. Heading. The loneliness, nobody talks about this, is the trait high IQ people almost never admit out loud. They find it genuinely difficult to find people who think the way they do, not because they believe they're better, because conversations that stay surface level leave them feeling a specific kind of empty. Psychologist Leda Hollingworth called it stimulus poverty, a mind that can't find enough depth in its environment. So what do highly intelligent people do? They hold back. They calibrate themselves down for the room, and a huge part of who they actually are never enters the conversation at all. For trait 6, they change their mind when the evidence changes. Heading. Updating isn't weakness, it's intelligence. Most people treat their beliefs like their identity. Challenge the belief, threaten the person. High IQ individuals treat beliefs as working theories. When better information arrives, they update immediately, honestly, without ego. Psychology calls this cognitive flexibility, one of the most consistent markers of advanced problem-solving ability. From the outside, this looks like inconsistencies, but what's actually happening is a mind-running continuous, honest accuracy check on itself. The people who never change their minds, regardless of evidence, almost never the most intelligent people in the room. Fellistow trait 7. They observe far more than they say heading. The quietest person has the fullest picture in any group. The highly intelligent person is usually watching before they speak. They're listening to what isn't being said, rating who defers to whom, tracking where the real tension is, understanding what the conversation is actually about. Beneath the surface, research consistently shows higher IQ correlates with greater accuracy in reading social cues and emotional signals. But it also means they need more time to process before responding. This creates one of the most common misreads in any room. The quiet, observing person is assumed to have the least to say. In reality, they have the most complete picture of what's happening. Laxcon trait 8. They procrastinate on the work that matters most heading. It's not laziness. It's too much care. Here's one that confuses highly intelligent people about themselves. Small, low-stakes tasks, done immediately. The work that could actually represent their full potential. Permanently stuck at the edge of starting. Research on high cognitive ability found this pattern isn't laziness. It's complexity awareness. Before beginning, a high IQ brain already sees every way the finished work could fall short of the standard the mind can clearly envision. Psychologist Carol Dweck identified this as common in gifted individuals, not a fear of failure exactly, but the fear of the gap between internal vision and external output, the work that never gets started. It's almost always the work that matters the most. Reting trait 9. They get bored faster than anyone around them heading. The brain running a search it can never finish. Highly intelligent people don't just feel bored easily. At a neurological level, their brains require more novelty to stay engaged. Neuroscience links higher cognitive ability to higher baseline dopamine activity in the prefrontal cortex, the brain's reward system for intellectual challenge and new information. When that challenge disappears, the signal drops sharply. This is why high IQ people often pursue multiple interests at once, change careers more than once, or feel mysteriously dissatisfied in situations that look, from the outside, completely fine. The brain isn't being ungrateful. It's running a search for what it was built to find. Plun trait 10. They doubt themselves more than anyone would believe heading. The smartest people carry the most uncertainty. Here's the trait that surprises people most. People with very high IQs often carry a level of persistent self-doubt that the people around them would find almost impossible to believe. Not performance, not false modesty, genuine, recurring uncertainty about their own thinking. And it connects directly to intelligence. Because the deeper your understanding of anything, the more clearly you see how much remains uncertain. Psychologist Albert Ellis observed that highly intelligent individuals shelled their own output to standards they never applied to anyone else, treating any gap between performance and potential as evidence of fundamental inadequacy. The doubt isn't a sign of lesser intelligence. It's one of the most reliable signatures of a greater one. Memor trait 11. They carry a quiet sense of never quite fitting in heading. Not broken, just built differently. This is the trait that ties everything together. Highly intelligent people frequently carry a quiet, persistent feeling of being slightly out of sync with the world around them. Not dramatic, not obvious, just slightly off. And it makes complete sense. When your brain processes more, connects more, feels more intensely, and requires more depth than the environment consistently offers, a mild sense of not belonging is almost inevitable. Psychologist Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi, after decades studying exceptional minds, found that the most intellectually capable individuals almost universally described their inner lives as the most complex, the most difficult to explain, and the hardest to share. Not because something went wrong, because something works differently. Here's what's fascinating about every single one of these traits. They're almost all misread. The person who needs solitude looks antisocial. The mind that never stops looks anxious. The one who feels deeply looks too sensitive. The one who doubts themselves looks uncertain. The one who doesn't fit looks difficult. But what if it's not a collection of quiet struggles? What if it's something very specific? A mind built to process more, connect more, and go further than most of the environments it moves through every day. A very high IQ isn't just about thinking faster or knowing more. It's about experiencing the full complexity of the world with very little filter between you and it. And that, more than any number or test, is what makes it both the most powerful and the most demanding thing a person can carry. If one of these traits described you, drop a comment with which one hit the hardest. I read every single one, and if this gave language to something you've been carrying quietly for a long time, share it with someone who needs to hear it.